So I was on bed rest for about 7 weeks with my first child, almost 13 years ago. And being on bed rest meant a lot of time in my head, which wasn't a great place to be. Um, and so I spent a lot of time thinking. And one of the things I was thinking was how much I hated being pregnant. Because though I knew I would be a great mom, and I really do love being a mother, I really, really hated being pregnant. And having regular contractions from 32 weeks on was no fun at all. And so a lot of what I was thinking about was my birth plan. And I know that now people have birth plans, but I was living in Philadelphia 13 years ago. It wasn't like a big thing. And my birth plan was not elaborate. My birth plan can basically be summed up in one word: epidural. That was it. I wanted my epidural. And I was concerned because in a birthing class at the hospital where we were living in Philly, they said, there's this window. There's between 4 centimeters and 8 centimeters, because before they weren't going to give you the epidural, and after 8, it wasn't really worth it. So I was thinking a lot about that 4 centimeters. I talked to my OB and I expressed my concern, and he said, don't worry. When they ask your name, say epidural. When they ask for your insurance, say epidural. Epidural, 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 like a mantra. And it was my mantra. So 7 weeks of regular contractions. I was done, and my mental status was falling apart, and my OB said, you know what, we're gonna induce at 39 weeks. And I was good. That was excellent. That was the plan. That was gonna be a Monday morning, December 29th. I figured I could go in, get induced, have my epidural, and be home for New Year's. So that was the plan. On the morning of Sunday, December 28th, I had a dream. I was Donovan McNabb, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming in from a frustrating practice, somebody threw a football into my lower back. I said, what the hell? And then someone threw another football into my lower back, and I said, I cannot work under these conditions. And I woke up, and the first football was my water breaking, and the second football was my son's head sort of settling into the birth canal, and I said to my husband, hey, it's time to go. So we grabbed the go bag that had been sitting there for 7 weeks and headed on the icy roads of Philadelphia to the hospital. When we got there, I was asked my name, and I said, Ebba! And my husband took over and gave them my name and my insurance, and we headed into the room where no one seemed particularly concerned about my concern, which was that window. Because it was my first child, and it was going to take a while. The nurse came in. I said, it hurts. And she looked and she said, what'd you expect? You're in labor. And I was going to lunge for her throat when I was hit by a contraction, and my husband told me to breathe and then decided I should really lunge for his. But I didn't for either of them, and I breathed through it, and eventually they did get around to checking, because they hadn't checked up till this point, and then they discovered, lo and behold, 7 weeks of contraction, I'm at 7 centimeters. And they rushed me down the hall to labor and delivery. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a story about not getting an epidural and going through natural childbirth and being empowered by the experience. That is not this story. The anesthesiologist, one of the 2 great loves of my life, did arrive. And he put that epidural in, and it was everything I thought it would be. I can't feel my toes. I said, we should have done this months ago. And so I labored without feeling any of it. It was great. They came in, they said, it's time to push. And I went, and they said, no, push. I went, they said, bear down. I don't know what that means. Said, we're going to turn down the epidural. I don't really want you to do that. I said, no, we need to. Please don't. We're going to do it. So they tell me to push. And I push. And they tell me to push again. And I looked at my husband. I said, I have this mental image of Elvis dying on the can. But I didn't. And several, 10 minutes later, arrived my beautiful, healthy son. And so this is a story, actually, of a birth plan that went even better than I could have hoped. Because I got to the hospital. I got my epidural. I had the labor that was what I needed it to be. I had a healthy, happy son. And I got Donovan McNabb as my doula. Thank you.